Reborn 10 years after the car accident, Zhu Tingzhi and I broke up with a tacit understanding. In his previous life, he approached me for Liang Yu's sake, watching helplessly as the one he loved ended up with someone else. After all the twists and turns, he made me Mrs. Zhu for 7 years. The first thing he did after being reborn was to get rid of me. He Nyan, let's just call it quits. At that time, he was not yet the Mr. Zhu everyone would later fawn over, but just a male college student applying for a poverty-stricken student scholarship. He was so devoted to love that he didn't hesitate to date his crush's best friend. He regretted it for 10 years because of this. I agree to no longer disturb, it's just that after I was exposed, he urgently looked for me again. What's going on? At 1001 hash, the bell for the end of class rang. Nyan Nyan, let's go to the cafeteria together. I didn't look at the 10 years younger Liang Yu and packed my backpack by myself. Standing beside her, Zhu Tingzhi parted his thin lips slightly, his gentle watery eyes gazing tenderly at Liang Yu. No need, we'll go ourselves. He Nyan will be very busy recently. He turned his handsome profile, his tone reminding. Right, I remember the cold, detached tone of Zhu Ting's voice that day. Leaving no room for anyone. He Nyan, let's part on good terms. This time, I don't want to miss Liang Yu. Indeed, he had regretted it for a full 10 years. He regretted choosing to get close to Liang Yu by starting a relationship with me instead. Early on, I let myself take on the title of someone else's boyfriend. Since I've been given a second chance at life, I absolutely won't let myself do such childish things again. I tugged at the corner of my mouth and said, yeah, Liang Yu, you guys go ahead. He's right, I've been busy with the campus competition lately and still have rehearsals to attend. The mention of the campus competition made Liang Yu's eyes flicker. In my previous life, I held a massive inheritance left by my parents, yet I willingly presented myself as a virtuous wife and mother who struggled alongside Zhu Tingzhi to avoid hurting his self-esteem. I only supported him quietly from behind the scenes. When he rented a place, I lived with him in a basement of just a few square meters, cooking meals every day and waiting for him to come home. Later, when he started his own business, I secretly invested money for him. Back then, he said, He Nyan, it's a good thing I have you. Watching the two figures recede into the distance, I called out to Zhu Tingzhi, wait a moment. Zhu Tingzhi stopped in his tracks and turned to look at me with a hint of impatience. His eyes held a look that said, I knew it. I reached out my hand and spoke under his puzzled gaze. I remember I was the one who topped up your meal card. Since we've broken up, please return the money to me. Zhu Tingzhi was taken aback. He probably forgot at that moment that the future CEO Zhu, who casually spent tens of thousands on a single meal, was still a college student who couldn't afford his own living expenses. Liang Yu would never have imagined that all the things Zhu Tingzhi gave her and every meal he treated her to were paid for with my money. Out of consideration for his pride, I never told Liang Yu the truth about Zhu Tingzhi's situation. I felt sorry for him, so I naturally transferred money to his meal card. Whenever the three of us ate together, Zhu Tingzhi was the one who paid. Liang Yu never paid for anything. Like Zhu Tingzhi, she was applying for a poverty-stricken student scholarship. Sure enough, Liang Yu frowned slightly and cast a faint glance at Zhu Tingzhi. That single glance made Zhu Tingzhi's neck flush red. Liang Yu always carried herself with a light, understated demeanor. This subtle elegance earned her flattering titles like goddess and campus belle. I used to genuinely believe she was free from worldly desires, and countless times I offered her everything I had. Now that I think about it, I can't help but curse myself for being a huge idiot. He looked at me deeply and placed the meal card in my palm. He Nyan, we're even now. The cold card, like my heart at this moment, didn't hurt but was deeply unsettling. Liang Yu looked at me, hesitating to speak. Nyan Nyan, do you want to think it over again? I looked at her. I will never forget the day of my wedding anniversary with Zhu Tingzhi. When Liang Yu barged into our home with a child in front of everyone, she knelt before me, begging me not to tear them apart. The 3-year-old child rushed over crying and hit me. The bad woman who stole her father. And Zhu Tingzhi only said one thing about Liang Yu's existence. The child is mine. I always liked Liang Yu from the beginning. You've taken her place for so many years. It's time to give it back to her. betrayed by my best friend and the person closest to me. They taught me the most painful lesson of my life. Zhu Tingzhi believed until his death that I had taken Liang Yu's place, that I had squeezed into the upper-class circle by riding on his coattails, and that he had never looked up to me. Now I am returning Liang Yu's position to her. At 1001 hash, like me, Zhu Tingzhi lost both of his parents. The difference is that I am the only surviving descendant of the He family, carrying a vast fortune. He was truly poor, so poor that he had to earn his own tuition to attend university. I set up a generous scholarship in our department specifically to prevent him from having to take odd jobs outside. Zhu Tingzhi was a top student, earning tens of thousands in scholarships every year. Combined with student loans, he had no need to work part-time after graduation. I encouraged him to start his own business, quietly providing him with financial support in various ways, which eventually led to his success as CEO Zhu. Yet, he ended up getting together with Liang Yu, who had returned from abroad after a divorce. This time he wants to live his own life. And I want to live mine too. I took out my phone and dialed the number I knew by heart. Feng Jun. I agree to the engagement. Before my parents left, they were afraid I would be bullied if I were alone. So they arranged the marriage between me and the Feng family. It's just that I didn't like Feng Jun before, so naturally, I kept my distance. Now I think being with Feng Jun isn't so bad either. At least in my previous life, Feng Jun never got married and had no women around him, which was quite clean. At 1001 hash, within a few days, the news of my breakup with Zhu Tingzhi had spread throughout the school. He became one of the many pursuing Liang Yu. Where Liang Yu is, Zhu Tingzhi is there. His love passionate and direct. Under the dormitory building, Zhu Tingzhi's tall figure was dappled by the light filtering through the tree shadows. Feng Tiantian cautiously looked at me. Nyan Nyan, you'll definitely find a man more handsome and talented than Zhu Tingzhi in the future. I tried to curl the corner of my mouth but said nothing. They all say Zhu Tingzhi has taken a liking to Liang Yu and dumped me. Now I have to endure everyone's sympathetic looks in class every day. Apart from feeling a bit uncomfortable at first, I've now managed to act as if I don't notice it at all. Suddenly, a shy boy popped out from the side. Hey, Nyan. This is for you. I looked at the box of imported chocolates in the boy's hand. It was expensive, with beautiful packaging. But I knew it wasn't for me. It was for Liang Yu. Everyone knew that Liang Yu and I were inseparable best friends. Everyone who pursued Liang Yu liked to send her things through me first. It wasn't until after graduation, at a class reunion, that I realized how bad my reputation was. People said I was dating several people at once and loved taking advantage to gain benefits. Liang Yu knew all about it but accepted everything without a guilty conscience, enjoying the material benefits while maneuvering among them. I can't help you deliver things anymore, you'll have to give them to Liang Yu yourself. He made the boy blush with embarrassment. Just then, Liang Yu came down from the dormitory. Zhu Tingzhi looked solemn. He Nyan, what nonsense are you talking about? When did Liang Yu ever accept anything from him? Liang Yu was the pure goddess of the college and had never been close to any boy. He felt as if something he cherished was being coveted, and it made him very uncomfortable. Oh, really? In his heart, Liang Yu was like an untouchable, pristine moonlight. How could she possibly do such a thing? Liang Yu, you haven't accepted anything from other boys, have you? Liang Yu said lightly. Nyan Nyan, I know you're feeling down after breaking up with Zhu Tingzhi. I don't blame you. Her entire demeanor radiated magnanimity, as if saying, I won't hold it against you. I replied even more indifferently than her. The most expensive phone in your hand was given by him. The earphones were from Zhong, the senior from the School of Economics and Management. Oh, and he also sent you flowers for a week. But you said flowers weren't practical, so he switched to a box of Drio lipsticks in the shade of bean paste. All of these were handled by me. Weren't all those given to you by your admirers over the years? Feng Tianti adjusted her glasses, her eyes sparkling with gossipy curiosity. I shook my head. They were all for Liang Yu. I gave them all to her. Liang Yu was no longer acting indifferent now. I thought you were the one who gave these to me. I sneered and asked Feng Tiantian. Do you believe what she said? Feng Tiantian raised her hand, definitely not believing it, but Zhu Tingji was glaring at her from the side, so she could only cautiously rub her nose and say, "Perhaps it's a misunderstanding on Liang Yu's part," Zhu Tingji said. "You accepted someone else's things yourself and then blamed Liang Yu for it. Hinyan. Is this amusing?" My numb heart ached for a moment and wavered. "What's wrong with you?" Zhu Tingji came over to help me up, his brows furrowed so tightly they could crush a mosquito. I snapped back to reality and withdrew my hand. "If you don't believe me, I can only call Senior Zhong and confront him with this classmate. If you still don't believe me, I can find even more people." I looked at Liang Yu's clenched fist and said slowly, "I have their contact information. Every time Liang Yu accepted something, I reported it to them. Do you want me to call them right now?" I made a move to reach for my phone. "Enough, Hinyan. You're just jealous that Liang Yu is more popular than you, you're jealous that she's prettier than you, and your jealousy makes you look really ugly." At 1001 hash, I heard Feng Tiantian gasp. After Zhu Tingji lost both his parents, he became more mature in his actions and would never embarrass someone in public like this, in front of others. He always maintains the demeanor of a gentle academic achiever, but there is only one thing. Whenever he encounters Liang Yu, it always stirs his emotions. I thought we were in the same boat, that I was helping him through each difficulty, but in reality, it was only because he had no better choice at the time. I closed my eyes, wanting very much to tell him, in Liang Yu's list, he didn't even make the top 10, that is to say, Zhu Tingji transformed into the feared President Zhu. Only after getting divorced did Liang Yu truly look at him. Back in those years, the two of them secretly dated behind my back, enjoying their love, and I always acted like an ordinary wife, telling him to drink less, not to smoke, and forcing him to go for health checkups. I would nag endlessly, repeating the same things I had said countless times over and over again. How many times have I looked back and wondered if Zhu Tingji, while enjoying romantic moments with Liang Yu, felt utterly impatient when receiving my repeated reminders to take care of his health and look after himself. I never told Zhu Tingji that a large part of what he considered his successes were actually due to my efforts behind the scenes. It's about a man's pride. Especially since Zhu Tingji is someone I hold dear in my heart, I am more than willing to nurture a boy into an outstanding man. But this man should not be taken by someone else once he has matured. He betrayed me, and in the end, he even tried to pin the label of jealousy on me. I think it's necessary to make him face reality. Zhu Tingji, what right do you have to stand up for Liang Yu? Ignoring his suddenly cold expression, I pulled Feng Tiantian away. He seems to have forgotten that Liang Yu wouldn't even look at him at this time. At 1001 hash, perhaps my words stirred something in his heart, as Zhu Tingji hadn't waited for Liang Yu downstairs for quite some time. Liang Yu had also been busy preparing for the school's campus competition lately and didn't pay much attention to Zhu Tingji. To encourage everyone, the school specifically stipulated that the champion would receive a 10,000 yuan cash prize. I'm not participating in the competition for the 10,000 yuan, but Liang Yu really needs that money. It was through this competition that Liang Yu gained a bit of fame, and with that little bit of fame, she managed to attract quite a few talented young men. I was preparing to go on stage to play the piano, and coincidentally, Liang Yu also chose to play the piano. I ran into Liang Yu in the school's piano room. After finishing the piece, I turned my head and saw Liang Yu at the door. She looked a bit pale and smiled. "Nyan Nyan, I didn't expect you to play so well." I closed the piano and started packing my things. "Is that so? I'm just a little better than you." Seeing that I was about to leave, Liang Yu stopped me. "Nyan Nyan, could you please not participate in the competition this time? I know you're competing with me because of Zhu Tingji, but you can't blame me. He's the one who insists on clinging to me. I really wanted Zhu Tingji to see what Liang Yu looks like right now. Is she still the goddess in his memory? My participation in the competition has nothing to do with Zhu Tingji. You're right, who he likes is none of your business, but it's also none of mine. I don't want to say another word to her. From the moment she started coveting my marriage and my love, there was nothing left for us to talk about. I just underestimated Liang Yu's determination to stop me from participating in the competition." A summer thunderclap roared, signaling another thunderstorm. The rain had already soaked his hair. "Why are you here?" I held the umbrella over his head, but my instinctive action made Ju Tingji step back. Hinyan, what will it take for you to give up on the competition? I bit my lip and looked at him indifferently. Why should I give up? Ju Tingji turned his face away. If you can give up this competition, I'll agree to go on a date with you. If you want more, that's not impossible either. I looked at him in disbelief. Shocked by the words coming from his mouth, Ju Tingji, you truly disgust me. I never want to live with Liang Yu again and have decided to move out of the dorm. The housekeeper, along with others, efficiently packed my belongings. Feng Tiantian stood by with her mouth agape. Hinyan, are all these your family's housekeepers? I nodded, took off my glasses, and started putting on my makeup. Ju Tingji doesn't like it when I dress in bright colors. He prefers the plain and simple look like Liang Yu. Unfortunately, I happen to have a look that's 5 parts charming and 7 parts enchanting. Dressing plainly makes me look like a carnivorous enchantress who's been malnourished from a lifetime of vegetarianism. Ju Tingji says I'm not as pretty as Liang Yu. He must be blind. Liang Yu returned to the dorm and was momentarily stunned when she saw the completely transformed me. Nyan Nyan, what are you doing? I changed into my own branded clothes. Nothing much, I just don't feel like playing along anymore. I'm moving back home, Feng Tiantian said enviously. Liang Yu, you don't know. Hinyan's family has 8 housekeepers and bodyguards. My dear young lady was actually right beside me all along. She sweetly rushed over. Hinyan, if you become rich and noble, don't forget me. Don't forget the me who used to eat melons with you back in the day. I smiled, pulled out the LV bag I brought from home, and handed it to her. This is for you. Do you like it? I like it. I like it. I really like it so much. Liang Yu's eyes were inscrutable. In the past, I would have given her anything I had. Returning to my long unvisited home, I threw myself onto the bed. No need to pretend to be poor. No need to worry about Ju Tingji's financial situation. Just focus on enjoying life. I must have been out of my mind back then. Feng Tiantian posted on her moments. Thanks for the gift, my dear, more. The accompanying picture is the bag I gave her. I silently liked the post along with everyone else. At 1001 hash, the butler acted faster than I expected. Not long after, the school issued a notice that the annual scholarship for the computer science department had been cancelled. For someone like Ju Tingji, who relied on scholarships to pay tuition and cover living expenses, this was undoubtedly a troublesome matter. He had no choice but to start working part-time again to earn his tuition. After confirming my relationship with Feng Jun, he gradually started appearing in my circle of friends. Ju Tingji called and said, I heard you're with Feng Jun now. No comment. Hinyan, you don't need to use him to make me angry. It's pointless. I hope you'll think carefully and not do these ridiculous things. I remembered Feng Tiantian saying that Ju Tingji got into a fight with someone over Liang Yu. You mind your own Liang Yu. My business is none of your concern. With a click, she hung up the phone. That day, Feng Tiantian sent a message. Ju Tingji is working part-time at a Western restaurant. Guess what? He saw Liang Yu having a meal with a man from outside the school, and they were reportedly acting very intimate. Ju Tingji rushed over and started a fight with the man. Don't you think he's crossing the line? Liang Yu isn't even his girlfriend. Why does he need to get so worked up? But I understand Ju Tingji. Liang Yu gave birth to a daughter for Ju Tingji. He has long considered Liang Yu as his woman, so of course he can't accept her being ambiguous with other men. However, Liang Yu is a very ambitious girl, determined to make progress. At this stage, Ju Tingji simply did not meet Liang Yu's expectations. Liang Yu only showed him a friendly face when she needed to use him. On the day of the campus competition, Ju Tingji stayed by Liang Yu's side. He looked exhausted with heavy dark circles under his eyes, and his shirt was slightly disheveled. I noticed with sharp eyes that his shirt had already started to fray. It seems his life hasn't improved since I left. His gaze met mine for a second before shifting to Feng Jun beside me. Feng Jun and I caused a small commotion when we appeared, and he quickly noticed Ju Tingji's unusual behavior. Feng Jun glanced at me, his eyes holding a silent warning. Paid point, at 1001 hash. Feng Tiantian waved at me, her eyes sparkling with the familiar gleam I knew so well. Waiting for me to sit beside her, she gave herself a thumbs up. my words must be blessed. I said you'd find a man more handsome and talented than Zhu Tingji, and sure enough, you found one right away. I winked at her. Thanks to you. On the stage, Liang Yu was wearing a white long dress, her smooth long hair flowing behind her, which perfectly matched her goddess image. After the song ended, applause erupted from the audience. Zhu Tingji stood near the stage, hands in his pockets, quietly watching her. I don't know who arranged my performance to be right after Liang Yu's. After Liang Yu stepped off the stage, her gaze swept past me indifferently as she walked toward Zhu Tingji and linked arms with him. I lowered my gaze slightly, expressionless. Feng Tiantian whispered softly, "Nyan Nyan, don't let her affect you." I smiled faintly. By this point, Zhu Tingji could no longer stir my emotions. I walked onto the stage, passing by Zhu Tingji as we crossed paths. "He Nyan, I stand still," he said. "You simply can't play the piano well. Why humiliate yourself?" I looked at Liang Yu with a half smile. "So this is what you told him, that I can't play well, and had him stop me from going on stage? It's not Liang Yu's fault. She was just concerned about you, afraid you'd embarrass yourself in front of everyone. Is that so? Thank her for me." "But I don't need it." I turned and walked onto the stage. I didn't even glance at Liang Yu's hypocritical face. A Croatian rhapsody flowed from my fingertips. This powerful and emotional piece not only expresses the hope of the Croatian people after the war but also represents my determination to leave the past behind and embrace a new life after my rebirth. Until the last note was pressed, the entire hall fell silent. A few seconds later, thunderous applause erupted, and under the stage lights, my beauty was dazzling and flawless. I heard someone in the audience whistle and Feng Tiantian cheering and jumping up and down. A scorching gaze pierced through the layers of the crowd and landed on me. I looked back, and Feng Jun's handsome face was beaming with unrestrained joy amidst the crowd. I undoubtedly won the championship, at 1001 hash. After the lively commotion, I saw Feng Jun off. As the campus competition came to an end, the campus, after all the wild fun, had a sorrowful hue like the lingering glow of sunset. Zhu Tingji's excited voice drifted over with the wind. "Liang Yu, why don't you believe me at all?" "How can I believe you? You keep saying you love me, but your eyes are always on other women. And what about you? Aren't you also juggling several men? What do you take yourself for?" Liang Yu's voice carried a rare trace of agitation for the first time. "What choice do I have? My brother's treatment costs 300,000. Can you give me 300,000? If you can, I'll cut ties with all other men immediately and never see them again. Can you do that?" A brief silence fell. Just when I thought Zhu Tingji would agree, I heard his deep voice say, "Liang Yu, don't push me. No one forced you. From the beginning to the end, I never asked anything of you." "You didn't. What did you say when you tearfully begged me to persuade He Nyan not to participate in the competition? Have you forgotten? Zhu Tingji, you still claim you don't have feelings for He Nyan, seeing how beautiful she looked today. Are you regretting it now?" After the two of them left, I remained seated in the same spot for a long time. So that's how the 300,000 came about. In his previous life, Zhu Tingji had gone to borrow from loan sharks. I only found out when they came to collect the debt and almost broke one of his hands, but no matter how much I asked, I couldn't find out what he used the money for. I ended up paying off his debt for him, lying that I borrowed from friends, and settled the matter. So the 300,000 was given to Liang Yu. However, none of this has anything to do with me anymore. Whether Zhu Tingji wants to take out high-interest loans like in his previous life is his own choice. Time passed slowly. After the campus competition, I became famous at school, and my name gradually started to be labeled as the campus belle. People began sending me flowers, and I was approached by others at school, but I turned them all down. When Feng Tiantian hesitantly told me that people at school were joking about me still thinking of Zhu Tingji, I immediately posted on my social media about my engagement to Feng Jun. The next second, it was posted by Feng Jun on a social platform. As he was already a public figure, it quickly spread to the school. Lately, the way Liang Yu looks at me has been filled with hidden daggers. Thinking back, the only man Liang Yu ever praised was Feng Jun, the male idol who was a few years ahead of us. Even his resume was gilded. a proud son of heaven, backed by the Feng family, sharp-tongued, witty, and indifferent to women. Wasn't he exactly Liang Yu's ultimate goal? But how could someone like Feng Jun have any connection with Liang Yu? She was just daydreaming. Nyan Nyan, are you really with Feng Jun? Didn't you always like Zhu Tingji? Oh, I don't like it now, she blurted out. Then where did Zhu Tingji's money come from? I snapped back to reality and carefully observed her. Only then did I realize that compared to her anxious expression from some time ago, she had become indifferent again. It doesn't take much thought to know that the issues in Liang Yu's family have definitely been resolved. It seems Zhu Tingji still couldn't bear to let Liang Yu suffer. I kindly gave her a direction. I won't give him money. As for where his money came from, you can go ask him yourself. Liang Yu was speechless. She's not stupid. Zhu Tingji, a college student who even has to earn his own tuition, suddenly gave her 300,000 yuan. What price was paid? I'm afraid even Liang Yu dare not dwell on it. At 1001 hash, as my senior year approached, I gradually withdrew from campus life and started working at the He Corporation early. In my previous life, only professional agents managed the He Corporation, so I had little to worry about, and once I gradually transferred the He Corporation to Zhu Tingji, I never went to work again. This time, I don't plan to hand over the He family business to anyone. The marriage alliance with He Fengjun is only because he is suitable. I have no intention of transferring the He family business to someone else. Life has been intense and busy. I've been completely immersed in the company every day, and I've lost a lot of weight, but my spirits are getting better and better. Days without revolving around men are quite nice. In my free time, I gossip with Feng Tiantian about our classmates' situations, or learn from Feng Jun how to manage the company. The days slowly pass by. Feng Tiantian said that Zhu Tingji and Liang Yu are together. I just raised an eyebrow, perhaps knowing how Zhu Tingji got that 300,000. Liang Yu also softened. Unfortunately, I guessed wrong again. The day Zhu Tingji cornered me in the cafe, it was pouring rain outside, with dark clouds looming over the horizon, making his figure appear quite desolate. The moment Feng Jun and I met, we unexpectedly ran into Zhu Tingji, and it was surprisingly calm. I looked at Zhu Tingji's furrowed brow and introduced Feng Jun to him. Feng Jun, the future tech tycoon and the sole successor of the Feng family, was also Zhu Tingji's most despised business rival in his previous life. At that moment, Feng Jun's gaze was clear and steady as he nodded at Zhu Tingji without haste. Feng Jun's appearance is no less than Zhu Tingji's, but his personality is rather cold, and his words can make people want to die, which detracts a bit from his handsomeness. However, his exceptional demeanor stands out. When the two of them stand together, Feng Jun is always the first to be noticed. He paused briefly upon seeing Feng Jun and said to me, "Let's talk." I responded non-committally, "No, Feng Jun and I have something to do." Perhaps it was because he had never seen me reject him so directly. Zhu Tingji seemed not to have reacted, and he reflexively said, "I came to find you." Ha! Feng Jun chuckled softly, meeting Zhu Tingji's angry gaze. "That must have been hard for you." Stooping so low, I turned my head to prevent him from seeing the corner of my mouth curl up. I was quite surprised that Zhu Tingji didn't retort. In our previous life, they were always at each other's throats. Zhu Tingji has become more restrained. I sighed. He has changed too. It seems that without a clear explanation, Zhu Tingji won't leave. I said to Feng Jun, "I need to handle some personal matters. Let's call it a day for now." Feng Jun's eyes were deep and unfathomable like a deep pool as he turned and walked away. Look at that little temper. At 1001 hash, Zhu Tingji looked at me with an inscrutable expression. So the rumors are true. I was taken aback. After Feng Jun announced his engagement, I was inexplicably dragged into the spotlight. He was always the center of attention, and now my identity had been exposed along with his. The heiress of the He group. So you're the eldest daughter of the He group. He closed his eyes for a moment. I lazily took a sip of coffee, then looked up and stared directly at him. "What exactly are you trying to say?" He lowered his gaze. "So you've been lying to me all along." I turned my head to look at the sudden rain in the distance. "Yes. I deceived you, and you deceived me. We're even." "How can we be even?" What do you want? Ju Tingji let out a sigh. Nyan, give me another chance. I almost spat out the coffee in my mouth. Ju Tingji, you really make me see you in a new light. He looked up, his tone desolate. Liang Yu is not what I expected. Nyan didn't appear to have a trace of feminine gentleness. She was radiant and bold, doing everything with fiery energy. Yet Ju Tingji knew how precious he had once been to Nyan. All her tenderness had been reserved for him. Liang Yu appeared very feminine on the surface, as clear and gentle as water. Only after spending more time with her did one realize how cold Liang Yu could be. Perhaps he is not the Mr. Ju who is later adored by everyone. I had the misfortune to witness Liang Yu's heartlessness. He had no money and no value to be used, so Liang Yu left without any hesitation. She still mingled among various men. He had no way to make Liang Yu go with him to sleep in a 10-square-meter basement, nor could he even get Liang Yu to start a business with him. Waiting for him with a prepared meal like Nyan did. When he lived in the basement, he often recalled what he had been thinking at this time in his previous life. At that time, Liang Yu had also taken his money, but since he was Nyan's boyfriend, they naturally weren't together. Ju Tingji thought, just wait. Wait until he dealt with Nyan. Wait until he could provide Liang Yu with a good life. It was just that at that time. What Ju Tingji ended up with was Liang Yu flying abroad and marrying a wealthy foreign man. He held his breath in frustration, thinking every day about how to make money and how to get Liang Yu back by his side. As for Nyan, he only needed her at the time. Did you already know the outcome? So you dumped me without hesitation. I stood up. Ju Tingji, even now you still think it's everyone else's problem. Ju Tingji suddenly got up and grabbed me. Nyan, you hated Feng Jun. Have you forgotten? I stopped in my tracks. I never hated him. It was you who disliked him back then, so I had to dislike him too. Actually, he was my fiancé, arranged by our families early on. If it weren't for you, our paths would never have diverged. Ju Tingji, everyone should return to their positions. I am no longer an obstacle between you and Liang Yu. You should be happy that you've gotten what you wished for. At 1001 hash, the heavy rain continued without ceasing. Still falling densely, I didn't call the family driver and was about to hail a taxi myself. An umbrella suddenly covered my head from above, the abundant moisture and the fresh scent of laundry detergent filling my nostrils. Feng Jun held the umbrella without looking at me. I'll walk you back. I didn't refuse. Nyan, let's get married. After saying it, even Feng Jun himself was stunned. Under the umbrella, he seemed like a noble prince who had fallen into hardship. Suddenly carrying the mundane aura of the mortal world, a glimmer gradually brightened in the shimmering gaze. I took him back to the villa, raindrops trickled down his neck from his hair, and I licked my lips. The next moment, he lifted me into his arms. I buried my face in his chest, blushing as I pointed toward the bathroom. From now on, you're not allowed to think about other men. Feng Jun picked up a strand of hair by my ear and whispered threateningly, you can only think of me. Or I can't guarantee you'll have the strength to look for other men. And then I had no strength left. Feng Jun is a person who is particularly capable of evoking fondness in others. I think as long as he wants to, it's really easy for him to make women fall in love with him. At 1001 hash, I thought I would never see Ju Tingji appear in front of me again. Nyan, have you been doing well? I looked at his disheveled clothes that were washed haphazardly, his unshaven beard, and his overall sloppy appearance. I thought we had already made things very clear. There was a pile of cigarette butts scattered around Ju Tingji's feet, but he never smoked. He smiled bitterly. Liang Yu is gone. So, why did you come to find me? Ju Tingji suddenly stepped forward, grabbed my hand, and slapped it hard against his own face. I was so startled that I pulled my hand back. Are you crazy? His eyes were frighteningly red as he grabbed my shoulders. Nyan. Please forgive me. Let's go back to how we were before. We can start a business together and work hard side by side. You can be my supportive partner. I've finally seen my own heart clearly. I never loved Liang Yu. I was just unwilling to accept it. I've always loved you. My shoulder ached from his grip, and I frowned, letting out a soft cry. Let go of me. You're hurting me. Ju Tingji seemed to snap back to reality and released his hold on me. But his hands still carefully kept me loosely encircled. Nyan Nyan, please say yes. I took a few steps back, my expression darkening as I replied, no, we've already broken up, I won't be with you again. Give up, you're talking nonsense, you love me so much, how could you not change your mind? Nyan Nyan. I've given up on Liang Yu. Do you hear me clearly? I've given up on her, I said angrily. It's you who didn't hear what I said clearly, from the moment you betrayed me. We could never go back, I don't believe it, you wouldn't treat me like this. You do love me, I love you too, let's start over together. This time, I will definitely treat you well. Zhu Tingji didn't listen to what I was saying at all and insisted that I agree to get back together with him. His expression began to turn frantic. I was somewhat frightened by his frantic expression. I struggled incessantly. At 1001 hash, Zhu Tingji pulled me along, rushing forward the whole way. Soon, he brought me to an abandoned rooftop. Year after year, I have nothing left. Could you really bear to watch me die? Downstairs is a 5-story abandoned shopping mall. Below, countless steel bars and concrete are piled up, and my heart is in my throat. I didn't dare provoke him any further. Zhu Tingji had completely lost the spirited demeanor he once had at this moment. He seemed more like a stray dog that no one wanted. Zhu Tingji, calm down. Even without Liang Yu, you can still have a career. Without money, you can earn it again. You have a bright future ahead of you. I am just a passing scenery on your journey. Once it's over, it's over. He let out a miserable laugh. Laughing so hard he nearly choked, yet he didn't stop. You don't have to lie to me. I know all my past successes were because you were helping me behind the scenes. I have no future left. Zhu Tingji had calmed down again by now. He walked toward me, and I stepped back fearfully, accidentally kicking over a brick that fell with a clatter and shattered into pieces. Ah! I screamed in fright. Zhu Tingji rushed over and hugged me. Nyan Nyan, don't be afraid, I won't hurt you, you have to believe me. I was so scared that I started crying. Zhu Tingji, let me go, we really can't go back anymore. Feng Jun will find me soon. Zhu Tingji heard that Feng Jun was getting all worked up again. You don't love him at all, you love me. He's just a tool you found to make me jealous because I neglected you. Nyan Nyan, he's tricked you. Have you forgotten how much you used to hate him? No, I shook my head desperately. No. Have you forgotten what you said? You said I took Liang Yu's place and asked me to give it back to her. I did as you said. So what are you doing now? Zhu Tingji crouched on the ground in agony, clutching his head. Stop talking. Please stop talking. He reached out and hugged my legs. I'm sorry. Nyan Nyan, can you forgive me just this once? At 1001 hash, not good. Feng Jun panted heavily, climbing up from downstairs drenched in sweat, his cold, menacing gaze fixed firmly on Zhu Tingji. Take your filthy hands off her. Don't touch her. Zhu Tingji stared at the man before him. A surge of anger rose in his heart. If it weren't for him, Nyan wouldn't have left. If it weren't for him, he would have been able to win Nyan back. Then everything would follow the same path as his previous life. He would achieve fame and success, marry Nyan. But this time, he would never betray Nyan. He would only distance himself from Liang Yu and wholeheartedly devote himself to Nyan. They would have their own children and a blissfully happy life. Nyan would cherish him just as she did in the past. Zhu Tingji felt a crimson haze before his eyes. He rushed forward, wanting only to make this person disappear forever. Feng Jun dodged Zhu Tingji's punch and charged forward as well. Two men were fighting fiercely, as if two males were competing for a mate. Neither of them held back. Feng Jun took a punch to the face, and shortly after, Zhu Ting received a counterpunch to the chin from Feng Jun. I rushed forward and threw myself onto Feng Jun. Zhu Tingji, stop. Unexpectedly, Zhu Tingji stopped. At 1001 hash, he fell to the ground in a disheveled state. Nyan Nyan, you are truly heartless. I quickly checked the wound on Feng Jun's face, and upon hearing this, I abruptly stood up. Slap. My palm went numb as I slapped Zhu Tingji across the face. He froze, yet I began talking about something completely unrelated. I remember that day when Liang Yu barged into our home. You protected her and took her away. You left me alone in the house, with everyone staring at me. My body was frozen, trembling all over. I thought you would come back that day. That you would explain things to me. But you never did. I waited from dusk till dawn, but there was no word from you. Do you know why I drove out? I looked at Zhu Tingji's stiff face and whispered softly, it was Liang Yu. She sent me photos of you and her together, and I went crazy looking for you. I did find you and got you into the car, but Liang Yu's words kept echoing in my ears, and I was so annoyed, so annoyed. I crouched down and slowly approached him, whispering in his ear. So I stepped on the gas and crashed. I wanted you to die with me. Seeing his gaze fixed dazedly on my face, I smiled and said, now do you still think I can be with you? I stood up and walked towards Feng Jun, pulling him away. A long moment passed. From behind came Zhu Tingji's suppressed, desperate roar. Like a small animal on the brink of despair whimpering from its throat, scattered with the wind, at 1001 hash. My wedding with Feng Jun was both luxurious and low-key. You know my secret now. Are you afraid of me? My love cannot be betrayed. Be careful, or I might devour you. I was wearing my wedding dress, smiling as I adjusted Feng Jun's suit. He grabbed my fidgeting little hands. My dear wife, we've signed the prenuptial agreement, and I don't have a single penny to my name, rest assured. There's no one else in the world like you, so eager to save men on the verge of going astray. I glared at him angrily. That day, when he came back, he squeezed every last detail about me and Zhu Tingji out of me, and only let me off after making me write a letter of guarantee 10 times. After that, I was protected by him and never saw Zhu Tingji again. Occasionally, I would hear bits and pieces of information about him from Feng Tiantian. The fact that he had taken out a loan for Liang Yu became known, and facing the huge interest, he had no choice but to work hard to repay the debt. Every day was very busy, unlike in my previous life. Without me to help him out, his hand was broken by someone. Perhaps Zhu Tingji is still the same Zhu Tingji, not a man who is completely useless and only relied on me to get ahead. Maybe in the future he will start a business again, but this time he will have to rely on himself. A few years after marriage, Liang Yu, just like in the previous life, got divorced and returned to the country in disgrace. I heard she went to find Zhu Tingji, but Zhu Tingji refused to see her. The last time I saw Liang Yu, she appeared at the party arm in arm with a man 2 generations older than her. Zhu Tingji was also present at the same time. Using his past life experience, he founded a moderately successful company. Though not as prosperous as in his previous life, it was still quite decent. His name is occasionally mentioned in the news. When someone asked him why he never got married, he would just smile and change the subject. Every time this happened, Feng Jun would be upset for several days, and then inevitably post pictures of us on social media. He still doesn't like Zhu Tingji, always feeling that Zhu Tingji is a ticking time bomb. Just like in their previous lives, neither of them could stand the other. In a corner of the banquet, Zhu Tingji smoked silently, while Liang Yu, pale-faced, had tears streaming down her cheeks, yet she remained strikingly beautiful. But her beauty went unappreciated. Tingji, how have you been all these years? I missed you so much while I was abroad. If my family hadn't needed the money back then, I wouldn't have married and moved overseas. Have you never once thought of me? Accidentally stepping into a tense situation. Feng Jun and I awkwardly came to a halt. Zhu Tingji saw me, smiled, and nodded. Noticing my slightly swollen belly, he silently extinguished his cigarette. Miss Liang, please make yourself at home. He did not disappoint, never once looking directly at Liang Yu from start to finish, and walked right past us. Feng Jun glanced sideways at me, holding me tightly in his arms. He looked as if he was startled by every sound. Liang Yu stared wide-eyed, as if she couldn't believe that Zhu Tingji could so casually treat her like thin air. Meeting my gaze that seemed to smile yet not, he awkwardly turned his head away. I linked arms with Feng Jun and stepped into this world of fame and fortune. My connections with others had already come to an end. It was time for everyone to go their separate ways.